government spending and printing of money. In this episode, I'm going to address massive inflation ahead. How to profit. Yep, you can profit from inflation. And I don't like inflation any more than you probably do, but it doesn't hurt me. It helps me. I'm going to show you how it can help you. So I'm Doug Andrew, and I've helped many thousands of people in 4.5+ decades optimize their financial assets and prepare for a comfortable retirement. But in doing so, one of my goals is to make sure that they are always ahead of what I call the tax and inflation power curve. Because those two dangers are what cause most retirees to outlive their money. In a nutshell, let's say you accumulate $1 million in tax-deferred IRAs and 401ks, and let's say you're fortunate enough to earn 10%. You know, most retirees are only earning about 3.5%, but let's say 10%. That means on $1 million, you should be able to take out $100,000 a year without depleting your $1 million nest egg. Most Americans are not able to do that because their money is invested in the market, the worst place to leave it when you retire. And that's why they're only earning about 3.5% according to Dalbar, who studies investor behavior. But let's just say you could earn 10%. You should be able to pull out what? 10% a year, if that's what you're earning, without depleting your $1 million nest egg. Well, if you have to pay tax on that, you may say, well, okay, I pull out $100,000 and I have to pay tax between federal and state. The average in this country is about 33% in tax. So you're only netting $67,000 after tax. Now, some people say, whoa, golly, I'm going to have to tighten my belt. I'll try to get by on $67,000. But then what happens? Inflation is caused by the government printing money, and they've been printing money like crazy to try to come up with money to cover all this irresponsible government spending. So when they have to come up with the revenue, when they spend twice as much as they bring in revenue, they raise taxes and they print money, and that causes inflation. So let's say the inflation rate goes from 3% up to 5%. 5% into the number 72, this is called the rule of 72, means the cost of living will double in 14.4 years. I don't think it's going to be held at 5. I can assure you inflation will be at least 7, 7.5, maybe 10. At 7.2% into 72, your money will lose its purchasing power. It'll be cut in half in 10 years. The cost of living will double in 10 years. Well, what if inflation goes to 10%? Because it's been double digit many times, and we have the same circumstances right now that we had back in the 80s when we had double digit inflation. So let's say the cost of living doubles in 7.2 or 7.5 years. Folks, you're going to need twice as much money. If you could get by on $50,000 today, you're going to need $100,000 in 7.5 or 10 years from now. You're going to need $100,000 to buy the same gallons of gas and loaves of bread, haircuts, golf green fees, prescriptions that you used to buy for $50. In another 7.5 to 10 years, and as little as 15 years or 20 years, you're going to need $200,000 to buy what $50,000 used to buy. Is it making sense? So this is what causes people to outlive their money, because all of a sudden, golly, I have to pull out more money because I need more money to buy the same gallons of gas and loaves of bread. But golly, if I pull out $100,000, I have to pay tax of 33. I'm only netting 67, and now I need 100. So you have to pull out more money because taxes are high. In a 33% tax bracket, you have to pull out 50% more money. Huh? Yeah, a lot of people don't realize in a 33% tax bracket, you have to pull out 50% more. If you need a net of 100,000 to buy the same gallons of gas and loaves of bread that 50,000 used to buy, you've got to pull out 50% more than 100,000. 150,000, pay tax of a third, 33% on 150 to net 100. If your $1 million nest egg is earning 10% and you have to pull out 150,000 to net 100, your $1,000,000 will be drained dry, gone, empty in 11 years. My favorite vehicle, which I call the laser fund, is tax-free. You pull out $100,000, you net $100,000 because it's tax-free. So when most people are out of money in 11 years, clients who followed my advice for years, they go, wow, I still have my million. If one of them lives 20 more years to age 95, because the fastest growing segment of American society today are those people reaching over the age of 100. Did you know that? Between a baby boomer couple, one of you is likely going to live to age 96. If you had your money in the market in traditional IRAs or 401ks, and you had to pull out 50% more to have the same net because of taxes, and inflation keeps costing you double every 7.5 to 10 years, you're going to outlive your money. Just do the math. If you use indexed insurance contracts, what I call the laser fund, you can link your returns to the things that inflate. If inflation goes to 7, you'll earn 12. If it goes to 10, you'll earn 15 based on history. I can't guarantee that. But if inflation goes to 15, I'll earn 20. I've always earned about 5.5% greater than the inflation rate at the time simply by linking my returns to the things that inflate. And on top of it, it's tax-free. What does it mean? In this example, when people run out of money in 11 years using traditional IRAs or 401ks, and they run out of money because of taxes and inflation, those who followed my advice using what I call the laser fund still have their $1 million nest egg. It generates $100,000 of tax-free income or more because inflation will allow them to pull out $150,000 or $200,000 if we have inflation. But they'll have that nest egg generating the same purchasing power for 20 more years. That's 20 more years of $100,000 or more. That's an extra $2 million, and you still have your million. That is, they're doing it. That's a $3 million better retirement nest egg than the same amount in an IRA or 401k at age 60 or age 65 when people ran out of money by age 76, relying on charity, welfare, Social Security, or their children for support. Don't outlive your money. So if this is intriguing you, I would recommend, as you continue here for a few minutes, because I want to gift you a free copy of my most recent best-selling book. But if you can think of somebody you know could really benefit from learning this, share this video. Post a comment, like, subscribe. Ask them to subscribe. You know, I post an in-depth answer to a financial question almost on a daily basis. These are questions that are asked 300 or 3,000 times a month. And I'm passionate about educating you. So let me connect the dots on what you can do to profit from inflation instead of lose because of inflation. So I mentioned my favorite financial instrument, and I don't put all my money there, but I would recommend that 40 to 60% of your retirement income ought to come from what I call the tax-free bucket. And there's 3 financial vehicles that are tax-free or tax-favored. One might be Roth IRAs or 401ks, but I've never owned a Roth IRA or 401k, and I never will because Roths only have 2 benefits, and they were introduced in 1997 by Senator Roth. And he actually introduced them because the government was hard up for tax revenue. You thought they did it for you? No. They knew that if people got smart and they realized it was better to have tax-free access to money in retirement rather than have to start paying tax on their IRAs or 401ks, because government keeps raising taxes. What was the original premise of IRAs or 401ks? Oh, you'll be in a lower tax bracket when you retire, so keep deferring and pay the tax down the road. People aren't in a lower tax bracket when they retire. The only people who are those that didn't save very much. And so people started getting smart, and in 1997, the government was hard up for tax revenue. So Senator Roth said, you know what? Allow people to roll over traditional IRAs or 401ks to Roths, and we'll get tax revenue. And then they can have tax-free income from that point forward. So a Roth was a step in the right direction, but I thought, my laser fund has been tax-free since 1913 in the Internal Revenue Code. I can accumulate my money tax-free and access it tax-free just like a Roth. but it has 4 additional benefits that Roths will never have. I can put in huge lump sums. You can't do that with a Roth. I can put in $300,000 and 30 days later pull out $250,000. You can't do that with a Roth. You have to wait 5 years or till you're 59 and a half. You cannot put that much money in. So do you know a lot of savvy CPAs and tax attorneys refer to the laser fund as the rich man's Roth? But how does this get affected with inflation? It's called indexing. Simply put, you are linking your returns to the things that inflate. So if I have $1 million in a laser fund and I link it to the S&P 500 index or the Dow Jones or the Russell 2000 or the Barclays US Dynamic Balance Index, these are all indices that are a measurement of the things that are growing in the economy. Why are they growing? Because the cost of living is going up. That's called inflation. So all I do is I link my returns to the things that are inflating, and it authorizes the insurance institution anytime I want to link by indexing to simply take the interest on my money. On $1 million, I'm usually earning 4 or 5%. So they take that 40 or 50,000 and they are allowed to buy upside options so that when the market goes up, I'm able to double or triple whatever that is. I'm able to earn 8%, 12%, 20%, sometimes 60% when the economy goes up. But if the economy goes down, I don't lose because my $1 million is safe in the insurance company. I didn't put 1 dime of my $1 million in the market. I relinquished the interest on my $1 million to buy upside options. So I benefit if it goes up. If it goes down, I don't lose my principal of $1 million. Does that sound too good to be true? It is true. I've been doing this since 1997. People have been earning rates of return in 17%, 25%. Here, just a few months ago, many clients locked in gains of 61%. But the average has always been, for me, at least 5% greater than the inflation rate at any given time. So you can profit from inflation. I don't like it any more than you do, but it doesn't hurt me. It helps me. If you want to have your money in a position where if we have inflation of 5%, 10%, 15%, that you can hedge, you can profit from inflation. It doesn't hurt you, it actually helps you. You need to study about how to properly create and fund a laser fund because it is what I call the miracle solution, not only for retirement, but for all kinds of financial goals. So let me show you how you can claim your free copy of this 300-page book. So this is book number 11. And it's flying off of our warehouse shelves. We're sending out nearly 1,000 of these a week. Don't miss out. I'll pay for the book. You don't have to pay the $20 retail. Here's how you can claim your free copy. You simply go to LaserFund, L-A-S-E-R, fund.com, and contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling, and I'll cover the rest of that cost. I'll fire out a hard copy of this 300-page book. And there's also options there to listen and learn or watch and learn with other types of education. But this will teach you how to diversify and create the foundation for a tax-free retirement. And as you study the examples here, you'll begin to understand how you can profit from inflation. Instead of being hurt, you'll be helped. And this is a dynamic but simple principle that a lot of financial advisors unfortunately do not understand. And I don't want you to miss out on this opportunity because inflation is going to be a serious financial consequence here in the near future. And I don't want you to be shocked or left out when you could have profited from the inflation rate.